Yeah, I mean, a big thank you to all my fans. I think it means so much to have so much support and like especially like all the all the fans from the Discord server. I think it's always amazing whenever I go see and everyone is just like there's like this whole community.
All right, today was the last match day of the first week of the LEC 2025 Winter Playoffs, and I am in the presence of the victorious Caps after a 2-0 against Fnatic, and I'm sure it must feel very good, right? I know last week or not last week, but in week 3 you said that you felt like you guys were finally starting to turn things around, and it felt really nice. So are we seeing G2 at its peak right now, at least from this split so far? How far can you guys grow still?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I would say at our peak so far, I guess, but it's also only been like 3-4 weeks. I think,
Yeah.
I think we definitely just like I don't even think it was like I mean, it's the first 3 weeks we had like some big hurdles, especially with the Arakan, right, and especially with like
Mhm.
I think the differences between scrims and stage were showing a bit. I think now we're way more aware of those, and I think that has helped us a lot. Obviously, we still have a long way to go. Like these games are not like what we were aiming for, right? Like I still think, especially for me, game one and even game two, I think the early games were not exactly what we hoped for.
Mhm.
But I do think our team level is definitely getting up there, and soon as we like finish a bit of the early game hurdles, and of course even like we make mistakes everywhere, but we always will. But the more we can improve, the better, right?
Yeah, and with this win as well, I mean, you guys are booking your ticket to the DBO5s, right? The semifinals. So, I mean, first of all, are you excited to be able to play Fearless Draft BO5 in the coming match for you as well? And are you excited to play against MKO or KC, depending on whoever wins as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, best of five will be very fun. I think we had two 2-0s, so we didn't really get to
Mhm.
explore like the fearless that much. Of course, we've been scrimming fearless, and
Mhm.
it gets like very crazy towards the later games. So I think those are always fun. It's like it's weird to say, but I'm hoping for like a 5 game series, right? Because I it's just it's fun, but it's also a very good experience before like the international tournament, especially I'm thinking, and even
Mhm.
before going like if we win 3-0 and then we go into the final, we might be actually at a disadvantage compared to like some of the teams that like go for the lower bracket, play like 3 different best of fives. They go like a lot of late game sets. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like worried about it in a way, just because obviously like a bit conflicted in a way where it's like you want to win, but at the same time you also really want to get the experience in this fearless format. It's very valuable.
Mhm.
So, um, but yeah, we're gonna of course also try our best and we see what happens from there.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of that experience as well, I think something that a lot of people have discussed is the fact that the LEC was the only region to unfortunately have BO1s in the group stage and not be able to fully experience the fearless draft, I guess. Do you feel it's a bit of I mean, I don't know how to say it exactly, but are you a bit like, do you regret a bit that it wasn't like best of 3 from the start? Do you think that is something that could negatively impact the team on the long run, or is it not that much of a deal?
I mean, in the long run, I guess it's only gonna be one split of fearless, so maybe in the long run it'll
Yeah.
be fine. I think for like especially for this playoffs and for the international tournament, I think it could definitely make it a little bit harder in a way. I think at least we felt when we went from best of ones to best of three fearless and we started the fearless, it took us a
Mhm.
week of like we didn't know what we were doing. It felt like the first week of scrims. It was lucky we had 1 week like off, I guess, of LEC, because the first week
Mhm.
we didn't really know what we were doing the later games. We lost pretty much every like later game. But then the second week we started getting some better ideas. We started understanding like what everything meant, like what we should be looking for, what we want to counter their champions with, and we got a lot more confident and comfortable with those drafts. Now we're gonna move to the best of five, and I could imagine that we will need to get used to those games as well, right? The game four, game five, and of course every game, every of the later games will be a little bit different, and especially
Mhm.
the more games, the more different I guess they will be. But at the same time, there are some patterns and there are some logic I guess you need to use in these later games to figure out like what is strong and what you want to do and stuff, and how you want to counter your opponents. And that's definitely something we're going to be very focused on this week and trying to practice as much as possible. Um, and yeah, I'm super excited to see how it goes next week.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Fearless, it's something that promotes a lot of creativity, right? And we know that G2 over the years have been known as like the mad scientists and stuff, right? So, do you feel like a fearless format is something that could advantage G2 on the long run, like even if maybe Riot decides to extend fearless draft to like all the international events and all the splits next year or something, because it's something that a lot of people have been actually like asking for, right? So do you think this is something that maybe could lead to Europe finally winning Worlds or something?
I mean, it's hard to say, right? I think we definitely like to be a bit creative, and I think you definitely have more. You have more like a bit more agency or like a bit more options, I think, in the later games, and it's like because it's just very different and you have to think very fast. I think especially right now there's not that much time between games, so it's like you have to be really quick at figuring out what you want to do. And it's definitely very difficult, but at the same time it's obviously the same for our opponents, which also means that there's this huge space for like doing just the right bans, just the right picks, and getting big advantages. So it will like maybe depend a bit more on draft, or like be a bit more important to stay level-headed and focused in the latest games, and that could help us internationally. It could also make it worse. It's like I can't really foresee it, right? I think in theory, in my head, I'll be like, okay, it makes sense. Like we play a lot more, maybe different champs or like a bit more like random champs, but yeah, we'll see when we go to the the internationals, or if we go to the international tournament.
Yeah, and something that a lot of people have mentioned is that they feel like the overall level of the LEC seems to be better this year, just in terms of like average level in particular. It didn't really show today because, I mean, especially in Game 2, you made it look like a walk in the park, I guess. Game 1 was a bit closer against Fnatic, but how do you feel about the current evolution of the LEC in 2025? And I mean, do you feel like the league and the region could be on its way to, I guess, regain a bit of that former glory as well? Because maybe with more teams like pushing each other, it could lead to the region becoming better on the long run, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always hard to like compare splits to like older splits or compare region to region, because it's very often like wrong. I feel like I feel like all the time when it's like, oh, Europe is weak, then it turns out to be stronger. I think 2019, a lot of people saying like, oh, Europe is so weak, and then we won a lot of, or like we won MSI and we made finals. And other years people are like, oh, this actually year where Europe is strong, and then we just like lose in groups. So it's always a bit hard to compare like one-to-one different regions. And so much of it also depends on like how the patches, right? Like what kind of patches happens going into the international tournaments. I definitely think the league has been more competitive, I guess, the split. I think Fnatic are definitely showing up big time, right? I mean, they were on like an 8-game or 10-game win streak before this game or this series, and but they were also doing very well last year. I guess the big team that's stepping up is like the K Corp. I think they're doing a lot better than last year. They definitely have had a lot of improvement. I think adding Yike was like a big addition to them. And then there's like Giants, who was like competing a bit in the beginning, but maybe they're slowing down a bit. I guess Koi is also doing decent, but they were also doing decent last year. So I think Fnatic and Koi are doing like somewhat similar, I would say, and the same maybe for us. But definitely K Corp has been the team that has been like stepping up compared to last year.
And another topic that I found really interesting is that at the start of the year, you said to Esports that you wanted Skumon and Labrov to not only fit the puzzle of G2, but also expand on it and I guess become like integral members of this squad on the long run. What do you think those two players in particular bring to the team that maybe the old G2 didn't have? And do you feel like with them, this could become eventually the best G2 lineup so far?
I mean, just to say the second part, I definitely think we can be the best G2 like team we've ever had, right? Like I think I would say every year we've had the potential, right? Every year we've always had very strong players, and this year is the same, right? And I think that if everyone puts in the work, if everyone is keeping up this level of work ethic, I guess, as we've had so far, I definitely believe in us and also in Labrov and Skumon joining the team. I think Skumon has been on fire like since we started the Fearless and like the last weeks as well. So I think that's been really good to see. I think Labrov was very like what is it called? Decisive today, which was very important as well. I think especially this game one, if we didn't have the decisiveness from him, I think it could have cost us. So I think they definitely have their own strengths and their own views on some stuff, and it's been fun to see how that like works out for us, right? It was like a little bit maybe weird in the beginning, or like not weird, but like we had to get used to each other, and they also had to get comfortable showing, right? Like they were not just we didn't have a job for them, and then they just had to do that. They had to come with their own ideas, and they had to be confident and really like show what they can do to everyone, right? And I think they're starting to show that. So I'm super excited for for what the team will do.
And I know you've mentioned before that like you like to take every year like as it in itself, like without looking back at like the previous years and the future or anything, and just like focus on the moment. But after more than 6 years with G2 now, and the fact that you've played with so many different lineups and everything, for you, what does 2025 mean in general? Do you see it as like the year that could be like the breakout for you guys, and being able to finally, I guess, surpass what you achieved in 2019? Because it's been quite some time, right? And I'm sure you're very hungry to finally get back to those heights, right?
Yeah, I think that could definitely be like, this could definitely be the year. I think for the last many years we've been like failing a lot, I guess, or like we've been losing in groups and stuff. I think, but I think ever since like the 2019, 2020 G2 roster swept up, it's kind of been hard for Europe, I think, a lot of time. And I think for 2021 we didn't make any international tournament. I think for 2022 we kind of got destroyed most of the time by all the LPL teams. I think 2023 was when we started like getting some good situations, but we didn't know how to execute it necessarily. And then last year, I think we won against top. We took many games from T1. We won against 2 games against BLG. I think we were like so close, but we were just not quite there either. Like we were definitely worse than many of the LPL and LCK teams. But at the same time, we also took games, and I think this is the year where we take all these lessons and all this slow build up, and now we beat them. That's what we're aiming for. That's what we're going for. We have a lot of experience. We have some new ideas as well with both Labro and Scumon, and let's see if it doesn't work out great for us.
Yeah, and just to finish up, I have one last question, because I know that obviously as one of the most accomplished players in Europe, you have quite a big fan base, and I believe you have even your own Discord with a lot of fans, right, that always support you as well. And I saw that like even in November they made like an entire like birthday gift for you and everything. So could you just tell me like what does it mean for you to have such a dedicated fan base that follows you as well?
Yeah, I mean, a big thank you to all my fans. I think it means so much to have so much support, and like especially like all the all the fans from the Discord server. I think it's always amazing whenever I go see, and everyone is just like, there's like this whole community of just support as well. There's like especially one channel that is just like a lot of support and like cheering us on for whenever we play. And for the last many years they've done like these crazy birthday gifts, which have just gotten crazier and crazier every year, it feels like. So I'm super grateful for that, and also just like it's a birthday gift from like so many different people like going together. So big shout out to them. I definitely wish I was like a bit more active and supportive of like all my fans, because I haven't been streaming in a long time, and I haven't been as active in Discord and stuff like that, right, for sure. So I definitely want to do that at some point, but at the same time we're also really struggling, I guess, to reach the level that we're looking for. And I'm hoping 2025 can be the year we not only accomplish success internationally, but also give all the fans the content and the gratefulness that they deserve.
Perfect. And just to hype your fans up, I guess, if you had to give me a hot take right now, how likely is it that G2 is going to win Winter Split?
How likely? Like percent-wise or what?
Yeah, percent-wise, I guess.
Probably like a 7%.
97. Well, that's a good number. I'm sure they're going to be very happy to hear that. But Caps, in any case, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. It's always so amazing to talk with the GOAT of Europe, I guess. And yeah, I wish you good luck in the next few weeks. Good luck in practice as well, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a great night.